Hey, it's Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. Willie McCovey died yesterday after a battle with ongoing health issues, according to a statement released by the San Francisco Giants. The Giants legend played 22 MLB seasons. He also spent time with the Padres and the A's. He was a six-time All-Star. He won the 1959 Rookie of the Year, the 1969 MVP, and his 521 home runs are tied for 20th all-time. He was 80 years old. The Kings are back at it tonight in Atlanta as they face the Hawks, looking for their fifth win in a row. Our coverage on Sports 1140 begins with game night at 3. Kings Live is at 4, and tip-off is set for 4:30. The 49ers and Raiders open Week 9 of the NFL in a battle of one-win teams at Levi's Stadium. It'll be the last meeting between the Bay Area rivals before the Raiders move to Las Vegas. Those are your top stories, and now it's time for now it's back to the drive. Time for Sam Amick.
Time for Sam Amick.
Yeah. KHTK.
Home of the King.
Home of the King.
I'm not letting you go to work.
Proud home.
The proudest home.
Northern home proud. Like us.
Good. Hey, I challenge you to find a more proud home of the Kings.
Prouder.
Jump in on our text line
And
at
a half
441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The drive starts now.
I bet you find a prouder home of the Kings where you find unicorns.
Narnia.
Yup.
Oh, there are unicorns in Narnia, by the way. From the 916, the only thing the show is missing today is a call from Mitch. We heard from Mitch. We heard from Mitch a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Mitch has been very taking some time off. Heard a lot of Mitch. Mitch in New Jersey.
Love Mitch.
I love this job.
It's a really cool job.
I really do love this job, and I haven't said this in a while. I try to say it about once a month because I never take anything for granted. We get to play in this sandbox, provided by KHDK, provided by Bonneville, our parent company, and we get to come in and be stupid for 3 hours. And to some people, that is just not enjoyable. They want to have straight sports. They want to have professionalism. They want to have thought out topics, compelling topics. They want to have hot takes, insight, journalism. And obviously we provide none of that. I don't want to go as far as to say, hey, we're just two guys talking about sports at a sports bar. Just like that. Just two guys. That's because everyone says that. I think what we try to do is we try to not take things seriously. Unless, of course, it's something we need to take seriously,
right.
like Mr. McCovey passing away today or something like that. We try to have fun. We try to not take ourselves seriously. And we try to give you something with all the podcasts and all the other things you could listen to. The fact of the matter is, by the way, yesterday, and thank you, Eunice. I haven't said that in a while either, as we do this before Sam comes on. Eunice, who does an amazing job, and every day we get statistics. All of the clips, the video clips that you see us post on social media, are cut and put together by Eunice. And yesterday we broke the record. We smashed the record, by the way, for most viewers on our video stream, which you can go to khtk.com at the top right if you're on a desktop, or you scroll down tablet and phone, and you can find that. Now watch us in all our glory. But we get to come in and just have fun, be fans. We don't hide that. We wear it on our sleeve. We have our allegiances, but we also talk about other teams as well. And the fact that you guys listen, whether there's 10 of you, whether there's 10,000 of you, and are so very loyal, even though we go back and forth with you, we get frustrated with you. I think of it as like a family. It very much is like to borrow a word from Jay Villas, a dysfunctional family that allows us to go out and feed our families or cats and do what we do. So thank you, truly thank you for tuning in and putting up with us.
It's a really cool job.
Okay, Kyle, don't go overboard.
Do we get it?
We get it, Kyle. Stop kissing butt. Jeez. What? I just woke up Siri, by the way. Sam Amick will join us. Oh, yeah, and thank you, texters. Yes, the job is better when the Kings don't suck. How long will the Kings not suck for? I don't know. I know this. I know if we're still above 500 this time next week, next Friday perhaps, That'll be a scary. Isn't everything just kind of like it's going to be tests for this team? Because the opening of the schedule is brutal, despite the fact that, yeah, we've got the Miami, Orlando, Atlanta stop. And that's not exactly the toughest 3 stops in the NBA. But they're going to run into an undefeated Milwaukee team on Sunday. And then what do? They just come home for Toronto, Minnesota, LeBron James and the hated Lakers, and San Antonio before they go off on the road to a Memphis team that's going to want revenge. They go play a Houston team that probably by then, of course, will have figured it out and be really angry. And then they come home and play Oklahoma City, who will also want revenge as well. So joining us right now on the listener line, because Kyle did not use, he's still brought to you by, Fire Wings, with 21 different flavors to choose from, firewings.com, just wing it. And NBA writer for The Athletic, who are proving to be quite the fun group of people to talk to. We also have Matt Barrows of The Athletic on every Tuesday, but also, and I try to sell it every time I can because I'm a huge fan of journalism. I'm a huge fan of writers. I'm a huge fan of the written word. I'm a huge fan of the creativity that you get out of writers. For example, a piece we'll talk about Sam did earlier this week in just a second that you're just not going to get anywhere else. People go, oh, I'm not paying for The Athletic. Okay, stupid. Then why are you paying for cable? And why are you paying for a movie rental? And why are you... A monthly subscription to The Athletic is about what you're going to pay for a drink at a bar. So don't be that dumb guy who holds out because he doesn't want to pay for stuff. This is the 2000s. Get with the program and go to theathletic.com where they have phenomenal subscription deals right now. If you want to check it out for free, you can also give it as a gift, much like I give you people a gift each and every Thursday, a gift of Sam Amick. Hello, Sam.
Preach, Dave. Preach.
You know,
yeah, thank you.
I got into it the other day about this. I'm not just saying this because you are on the air, although partially I am. But I did get into this on Twitter the other day with somebody who's like, I'm not paying. And I don't want to be counterproductive to your employer here. I'm actually trying to be productive. But the whole idea, I'm not paying for something I can get for free somewhere. No, you can't get it for free. And oh, by the way, isn't there something inside you that says when guys like Sam or guys like Matt Barrows or guys like Jason Jones or any of the Lombardi, the number of amazing writers that are now on staff for The Athletic, isn't there something in you that says if I'm getting value out of something, it's worth literally paying under $10 a month for? Get over it, man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm subjective at this point, but I felt that way before jumping on board. I mean, I'm a fan of the written word, obviously, and it's funny, I had this debate with our friend and colleague Sean Cunningham the other day from Channel 10, and, we were just kind of going around the industry, and, the argument I make and that people at our place make is that we are certainly attempting to be, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but like a sports media version of Netflix for the hardcore sports fan, where, you just get stuff on there that you can't get anywhere else. And, it separates itself from cable TV and from even HBO and Showtime. So, I mean, that's the idea. And this is like, things have changed, I think, when it comes to consumers and the way we operate. It's funny, I was not a New York Times subscriber until recently,
Sure.
which I'm kind of ashamed to admit. But I had the Washington Post for a long time and just kind of reached a point like, man, I need the Times. And so my subscription portfolio grew to, I don't know where it is now. It's like 6, 7, 8, something like that. And so everybody has different, revenue and resources. But, I mean, that is kind of the economic model now is people, I think you get good quality, you get good content, and you don't get the ads. So therein lies our commercial. Thanks, buddy.
There you go. That was good. That's fine. And I think it's important. I think it's important where journalism is going, and I love that real, actual journalists are getting employment and are doing great things. Like you, for example. I hate talking about the Warriors, but this is an exception. Listen, as much as we have fun with how much we can't stand the Warriors here in Sacramento, the bottom line is they're very good. They're very good to the point of being historically good, and I believe the best team ever to step on an NBA floor. You had I love this article you put out, dude, because the idea, and jump in if I'm wrong here, but the idea was you were going to go off the record to some of these Warriors players and be like, hey, which teams bother you? Which teams do you fear? Which teams are the toughest? And Draymond Green starts right out, and I can't say what he said on the air exactly because I don't give a blank. You can put my name on it, screw it. And you got some very candid responses. A team that has won 3 out of the last 4 titles and is primed to win a 5th. Really, who do they fear? That's a correct but weird question, I think, for them to answer.
For sure. And it was a fun story to write. And I kept couching that question with them by saying, listen, I'm not stupid. I know you're not afraid of anybody, but who poses the greatest threat? And what I was trying to drill down on was the idea that from an X's and O's standpoint, I think in the media and the fans, a lot of times just our dialogue is way too simplistic. And these guys are basketball geniuses, and they see each team differently than we do because they see all of it. They see all the layers. They see all the matchups. And I thought getting them in late October to answer this question was going to be a whole lot easier. Like if you try to answer this in March, they're going to look at you like you're crazy because then the playoffs are coming. We don't want, anybody to know what we really think. And it's so far away at this point. I thought maybe they would open up a little bit, and they did, and they were interesting. And, a couple of the takeaways, I mean, a ton of respect for Boston and the depth they have and Kyrie Irving and what he brings to the table. But on the flip side of that, it did surprise me that not much mention of the Torontos or the Utahs, or I'm leaving some other people out. I mean, Portland to a lesser degree.
Are we there with Milwaukee yet, by the way, in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, Durant mentioned Milwaukee on his – so Kevin, and like you read the story, Kevin ends up dropping 6 teams, and I pulled it up here. So he goes Houston, Boston, Lakers, OKC, Philly, Milwaukee. And then this is the part as a reporter where I'm like, all right, I need to really follow this concept through, and that means I can't let Kevin off the hook when it comes to just being politically correct. You just named, like a 5th of the league. And so then it was like, no, if you got to pick one, and he ends up picking Boston. So he had Milwaukee in his list.
Sure.
But no, there wasn't a ton of, and you got to remember the timing. I tried to be transparent about the timing of the interviews. Draymond was back on, I think, October 16th, a couple other guys on the 18th, and then Steph on the 24th. It was the night that he scored 51 on Washington. So all in all, though, I just think the whole point was to take you inside the locker room and give you a better sense of how they saw some of the competition.
Well, you did a great job doing that as well. And a perfect segue here is I just got a note from the Kings for tonight's game versus Atlanta. Obviously, Bogdanovic is still out with the knee procedure. Troy Williams, this is unfortunate after the huge game that two-way player had against the Magic. He's got a right ankle injury. He is out tonight, and De'Aaron Fox is listed as probable with that lower back strain. We talked about that earlier today. Sam, you've got to cover a lot of teams in the NBA, and of course, we love, because you're kind of like, how do I put this? You're kind of like our hometown national writer. We all root for you, and you know how Kings fans are with a lot of the national media and vice versa. Interesting start for the Sacramento team. I don't know if they're going to be, I don't want to give anything away, if they're going to be top 5 in your power rankings when they come out, but it's definitely a fun story to talk about through the first 8 games.
It is for sure. You sound like our buddy, drunk neighbor John, who the famed Kings fan. He told me yesterday, because we have power rankings at The Athletic where it's like 33 of us. It's a lot of writers who chime in, and you have to rank all 30 teams. And he was singing the same song as you, going, Sam, Kings got to be top 5, right? I'm like, John, it's top 20 maybe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, screw that. You got to skew the entire thing. You got to put him 1 because you know that your vote's only worth 1/32. So a lot of excitement with Kings fans, and it's funny because you say that, and I appreciate it, like folks like you who are in town are rooting for me. I tell Kings fans all the time, like, I enjoy seeing them happy. I have seen them miserable for so long. The other day, Dave, I'm going to squeeze a little workout in at your local California Family Fitness, free pub for them.
Oh, I'm saying my workout. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, shut up. Yeah. All right. All right, cushy poker player.
I knew that was coming. All right, so you go into your workout.
and I wish I knew the gentleman's name, but this, nice guy who I see at the gym all the time, and he'll say hello, but normally we don't talk hoops. He kind of rolls by, and I'm getting a fist pound. He's like, "How about them Kings?" And there's just a lot of that. I'm getting that
right.
on text messages from dads of kids who go to school with our kids. So you see the buzz, you see the excitement, and it reminds you how low the bar is for the Kings fan. Like, it does not take much to get them excited. And I thought about you also because, with very good reason going into this season, I heard some of your shows where I'm not even a Kings fan, and I'm sitting there going, "Holy Toledo, I'm going to drive off the side of the road here and just pull over and take a minute because I'm depressed." Like in terms of the way people thought things were going to go. What I like is that, do I think they're going to win at this clip for the whole year? No way.
Yeah.
But there's some meat on this bone. Buddy Hield playing really well and coming into his own conceivably. De'Aaron Fox being aggressive and having that up-tempo style that they were hoping. That's what he did in college, and that's why they drafted him. And he's getting unleashed in that regard. So a lot to get into. Willie Cauley-Stein playing really well, but a really nice start for them.
Sam Amick with us, and Sam, I said 3. The number that's gone around is 3-17. That's when I looked at the schedule and we broke it down on the air. We broke down the first 20 games, and I went through and said, listen, they'll be lucky to be favored by Vegas in 3 of their first 20 games. So 3-17 to 6-14. That's kind of the range, and to be honest, I wasn't that far off from probably I think 90%. Of local and national media who are thinking 25 to 30 wins. It's what's weird about the NBA. It's not like football where you can get some random team winning the Super Bowl every year. The NBA is not the most pariteistic sport in the land, but you had Vlade's job really on the line, Jaeger's job on the line, and still could be down the road. Maybe it's just one of those things. You draft high enough, you develop those players. I know it's early. I'm with you on this, and I'm rambling, but so far, Jaeger, Jeff Van Gundy shouted him out last night for an early Coach of the Year candidate. It looks like some of these players are developing, and my God, if it keeps going this way, people are going to have to look and say, well, maybe Vlade had a plan after all, and that plan was a good one.
They will. This is the part of the program where I come in as like I'm paid to be objective guy.
Of course.
It's like I hear your point about the 3-17 prospect, and obviously they've kind of gotten over that hill, and that was not the case, and they're 5-3, and that's great. Looking at the schedule, if we just want to be analysts here and talk about that Vegas kind of concept that you mentioned, I've got it as 13 of the next 14 games they're dogs in.
Yep, I agree.
And I'm taking it up to. They got Phoenix on December 4th, and so at that point you got Phoenix, you got Cleveland. Those are 2 gettable games.
Right.
But, they got Atlanta tonight.
Yep.
But then you're going Milwaukee, Toronto. Minnesota's a crapshoot because of the Jimmy Butler thing. You don't know if he's playing or if he's not. The Lakers are not daunting because they've looked pretty bad so far, but they still have LeBron. Then it's San Antonio. It's a Memphis team that's playing better than we thought they would. They got Mike Conley back. Houston's going to win a lot of games still. OKC, Utah, Golden State, Utah, and the Clippers team is playing really well. The Pacers, then that takes you up to that aforementioned Phoenix game.
Yep.
So, this is a brutal league. So 2 things can be equally true. The Kings can be taking, greater steps forward than we anticipated, and they can rack up a lot of losses at the same time.
I completely agree with you. And before a Kings fan driving around freaks out, what Sam's saying, and I completely agree with him, is that if you ask Vegas, and Vegas isn't the end-all be-all, but Vegas is shiny for a reason. If you ask Vegas, now the Kings are 1.5-point favorites tonight against Atlanta, but if you ask Vegas to set lines right now between now and December 4th in Phoenix, I think, Sam, you're 100% correct. They might be fading. Obviously, a lot of this is determined on, listen, if the Kings beat Milwaukee and Toronto, things change, but if they were setting the line right now, the Kings might be might be a favorite at home against Oklahoma City because they beat them, but I doubt it. I still think they'd be dogs at home versus the Lakers because of the LeBron factor. Same thing with Minnesota, unless both Butler and 50-point scorer Derrick Rose are out. So, yeah, at best, right now, the Kings will be favored counting tonight in probably 3 games between now and December 4th. So, but that's also what I said at the beginning of this season.
Right.
And they have turned that on their ear. So who knows? Who knows?
By the way, I know we're all sick of talking about Jimmy Butler, so I don't want to take it down that road.
That's fine.
But I got to share this with someone other than people I'm texting it to, and I actually just put it on Instagram. Did you watch any of that game last night?
I did not. I was doing the trick-or-treating thing, man. I did not. I saw highlights, but that was it.
Well, so now I was with you. We did the trick-or-treating. Yep. I went back and I watched. So I'll make it brief here, but Jim Peterson is the T-Wolves, one of their commentators. Mm-hmm. And it just, I found it hilarious because Jimmy Butler chooses not to play last night. You know, our reporters, John Krasinski and Shams Charania, had reported that even though Tom Thibodeau said it was general soreness and rest, that this was actually part of Jimmy's get me out of Minnesota plan, like phase 4 or something like that.
Right.
And he's choosing not to play, and he just basically put himself on the shelf, and it's part of his power play. So that, you know, cut to the pregame in-house TV commentators. They're introducing the game, setting the stage, and Dave Benz says, Jimmy Butler resting tonight, and he has a quick, like, comedic pause, and he says, general soreness. And cut to Jim Peterson, and he loses it on the air. He can't stop laughing. He can't put a sentence together. And Jim Peterson, bear in mind, is a former NBA player, former WNBA coach, and I just thought it was priceless because it was a little moment of honesty where a guy who's part of the Wolves operation is just sitting there shaking his head going, oh, my God, this entire saga is just comical.
Well, you brought it up, and I want to be careful here because I don't want to put Sam in a weird spot. And as we have a couple minutes left here, we had a long conversation, Kyle and I did earlier in the week, about sports media and sourcing and how sometimes there are those in the media that do favors for others in exchange for information down the road. And you and I have had this conversation on the air before. I'm not going to mention any names because, again, I'm on the phone with a national writer, but not easy to figure out. Your guy Shams reported that, and you could probably guess that his source or sources came from within or around the Jimmy Butler camp. There is another national reporter almost simultaneously that tweeted out sources. The T-Wolves suggested that Jimmy Butler rest versus Utah tonight, and there's an expectation that he will join the team on the flight to Bay Area to play Golden State on Friday. And that just, to me, screams of nobody's lying. Like, none of these reporters are bad people. It's just as a
someone's lying, just not the reporters.
Exactly, and report. That's a great example of sometimes when the discerning reader has to look at who's bringing them the information. Say one guy's talking to the player camp, the other guy's probably talking to the team camp, and then you got to try to discern what the heck is the truth.
No, that's all fair. That's all fair. One distinction I would make, and kind of an edge that we have as the Athletic commercial continues here, is that John Krasinski is just fantastic at his job, and John is based in Minnesota. So John's role is all things Timberwolves, all things Vikings, all things Minnesota sports. He's kind of the general columnist for that area for the Athletic. But he's he's boots on the ground. So it adds, even more heft to the reporting, because he and Shams had teamed up on that and reported it simultaneously. Like they have a lot of synergy. So they did that. But John, I believe John was at the practice where Tibbs, claimed that the resting was not part of the program, or that it was, kind of nothing to see here. So, but you're right. I mean, that does happen. You get two sides of the story, I don't know. I feel pretty good about our reporting, and then the TV clip that I mentioned, it seemed to, in a weird little subtle way, confirm the entire thing, because I think there's people in Minnesota with the team right now that, this is 7-8 weeks of just lunacy with this whole situation dragging on. And this is one game after Jimmy just looked like an MVP candidate and beat the Lakers single-handedly, and it was playing out of his mind. and then he decides to sit it down. I don't know where this whole thing's going, but whether it's Houston, Miami, Philadelphia, somebody else, they got to get him out of there at some point.
Sam Amick of The Athletic, propping his site, and he should, also failing to, when you mentioned John Krasinski and the wonderful job he does out of Minnesota, also phenomenal as Jim on The Office, too. And interesting that he decided to take a role as a writer in addition to his acting career.
What am I missing? I'm not getting
Did you watch The Office? You ever watch The Office?
Yeah, but how's that tie into John?
Because John Krasinski was also the guy that played Jim Halpert.
I didn't know the actor's name.
John Krasinski. Yes, John Krasinski.
There you go.
Different spelling, same pronunciation. See, I was trying to make it funny, Sam. I'm sorry.
I know him as Jack Ryan. Isn't it the same guy who's?
That is the same guy. Don't tell anyone. You can't know Jim Halpert as Jack Ryan. Although it took a while for me to actually. I've watched that Jack Ryan show on Amazon. It did take me a while to accept that Jim from The Office also could handle a handgun.
When I saw the scary movie he's in, Be Quiet or The Quiet Place or whatever.
Yeah. I watched that.
I kept expecting him at some point to just look at the camera, kind of quizzically.
That was a good movie. I watched that.
Really good.
That was a very good.
Hey, in the spirit of Halloween, before we go,
yes.
have you guys seen It?
No, and I need to. I'm like the one guy who hasn't. The clown
two
one.
guys.
No, two guys.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I watched the first 20 minutes. I got to go finish it, but I watched enough to creep me out and get me in the Halloween spirit. And so then last night, as I'm looking at all these kids in clown costumes, I was getting repeatedly frightened by children who came to my door in Pennywise outfits.
You got to fight those kids.
Experience.
How is your? Yeah. I know we got to go. How is your wife? I'm curious. How is your wife with scary movies? Because mine doesn't do it, and it makes it very difficult for me to. And I love scary movies. I have to defer to her all the time. Will yours watch them?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
That's why I was watching it. I was like, it's a weird headspace to be in. I was trying to do some research for a story yesterday while having it on. That's, like basketball and a clown that eats children.
Yes.
It's kind of a strange combo. And then
sounds like
the other tie-in. Yeah, exactly. The other tie-in here was our 12-year-old writer has this kind of annoying glitch he's been doing lately where he pops his jaw. It's kind of a little tick. And we're giving him a hard time. Dude, stop doing it. And that kept. And for people who have seen it, that nasty clown has this mouth that glitches out with a million teeth, and it bites the limbs off of children. So every time my son's doing this, it's creeping me out even more because he looks like a little mini It character. So a lot of layers to this, but no, the wife doesn't do it, and she gets. I'm trying to quietly introduce the boys to some of these really disturbing movies, but I haven't made a lot of progress.
Yeah, good luck with them all crawling into your bed, though. That's the problem with that. Sam
yeah,
Amick.
100%.
Sam Amick of The Athletic, talking basketball, reviewing scary movies. He does it all. Go to theathletic.com. Please do. They have a free subscription situation, a trial deal, and then I've been a subscriber for over a year now. Trust me when I say if you are a sports fan and you enjoy the written word, and of course you do, that is a fantastic place to go. Sammy, I will talk to you next Thursday.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, take care. That's Sam Amick. We'll take a break. When we get back, we ran a little long with Sam. A lot long with Sam. Dan Hawkins, head coach of the UC Davis football Aggies, joins us next right here on Sports 1140 KHTK. Welcome back to The Drive. Our thanks to Sam Amick for joining us on the Fire Wings hotline, which is just hot as heck because we also have a guest waiting as well. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com. Just wing it. Before I bring my next guest on, I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on at UC Davis. First off, they host Northern Arizona this Saturday at 1. I'll be right here on the Sporty 1140. What a great time to celebrate the 100th season of UC Davis football as they sit alone atop the Big Sky standings, 7-1 overall, 5-0 league record. Only Big Sky team that's got an undefeated record. They're on a 5-game win streak, and they smoked Montana in their last game. 46 unanswered points. That's in Montana. Now, I don't claim to know a huge amount about Montana, but what I do know is I used to go to Player Sports Bar here in town on Saturdays for their buffet, and Montana fans would pack the freaking place. And I've seen on television how insane that atmosphere is. So for our UC Davis Aggies to go in there and drop 46 unanswered and set all kinds of records, blowing them out. This is a team that I think Montana's got like 32 home losses since the early 80s. That is a huge deal, and the guy putting that all together is the head coach joining us right now, Dan Hawkins. Dan, my name is Dave, and that's Kyle in the other room. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well, but I didn't rush for any yards and made 0 tackles, so give all the credit to our guys.
Yeah, I appreciate the humility, Coach. Someone's got to put it together, and listen, my mom and dad went to Florida State. I am a lifelong college football fan. I'm a huge college football fan, and it kills me, and I'm sitting here talking to a successful head coach in college football. It kills me that college football is not in this area what it is in the South, what it is in the East or the Midwest, and I don't know that it ever will be. So I think my first question for you, putting together a team like this, recruiting a team like this, is that a challenge you face on the trail when you've got all the other sections of the country that treat college football like a religion? How do you sell these kids on coming to UC Davis?
We're after the kid that wants what I call the quality balance of life. I mean, we're one of the top 10 public institutions in the country. We want a kid that wants that kind of education. We want a guy that wants to win a national championship, that football's important to him. We played Stanford and San Diego State and Cal. We're going back to North Dakota State next year. We've got Oregon State on the schedule. Guys that want to stay in California, be in a cool college town. Most of our guys that we had in our recruiting class had Mountain West offers. Some had Pac-12 offers, but they liked this education. They wanted to stay in California, and they really loved our culture and what we're about. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about getting that kind of a fit. You can still play great football and great athletics. Shoot, our basketball team's been in the NCAA tournament a couple times, and be a great student. They're not mutually exclusive. So that's the guy that we're looking for. And if he's that kind of guy, we're a great fit. And if he doesn't care about school or he doesn't care about football or where he lives isn't a big deal, and he's probably not our guy.
Coach, some coaches are filled with confidence and knew from the beginning. Other coaches, maybe in a quiet moment, would say, oh, my gosh, this all really surprised me. I didn't expect us to be this good. But was there a point last week, you're in Montana, in that atmosphere, you guys dropped 46 unanswered, that you went, wow, I just kind of have to take my visor off and wipe my forehead because I didn't see this coming?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I just have never really operated that way. I think you take the top off and you work your tail off and you really focus on the process. And a lot of it's those cliches that everybody in media hates, but we try not to get caught up in the highs and the lows and the score and whether we're ahead or we're behind, and just dump a rock on the gas pedal and go. And we had some rough moments a little bit in the first half, but nobody panicked. It was really 7-3 midway through the second quarter. We had a little trouble with the crowd noise, but we got that solved, and we know that we can effectively do things well, and so we just didn't panic. And I'm never surprised at human achievement when we kind of speak greatness into people and quit putting a bunch of limiting behaviors on ourselves. And that being said, it's not being disappointed or surprised. I think you just kind of go into it with a quiet confidence and stay off the mountain and stay out of the valley and just try to find ways to reinvent and get better every day.
KHTK will have UC Davis, Northern Arizona, this Saturday at 1 Aggie Stadium. Want to also let everybody know the FCS postseason committee unveiled its top 10 rankings, and UC Davis ranked number 3. The only two teams that are ranked behind, North Dakota State, which has won the national championship in 6 of the last 7 seasons, and James Madison won it the 1 year North Dakota State did not. And I imagine, Coach, how do you handle this? Do you want your kids thinking national championship, or do you want your kids solely thinking Northern Arizona this weekend? How do you manage those expectations with them?
Well, we're focused solely on what it is we can control. Those things are fun, and they're great, and they're a great tip of the hat to the university and Gary May and Kevin Blue and all of our alums and everybody that's working hard to get this thing where we want it to go, and it's exciting and it's fun. But it's also sometimes opinions of people that really maybe don't even know, and sometimes I think they rank you too high or they rank you too low, and that shouldn't affect us. But we know we've got to control what's going on today, and we've got to take care of business at practice, and that's all out there. There's plenty of football. I said a couple of weeks ago that I think anybody can beat anybody in this league, and it's played out every week. It's hard to figure out who's winning and who's losing, and if you don't show up, you're going to get an L in the loss column. And this team is one of the best defenses in the country, and certainly in the conference, and has got an NFL quarterback that got hurt, and that gave them some problems, and then their backup got hurt. So they've been struggling a little bit at quarterback, but they may get their gunslinger back, and if number 15 rolls in for the Lumberjacks, it'll be a whole different show. So we got to get ready to go.
UC Davis head football coach Dan Hawkins with us. Coach, last question, and I saved it for last because it's a complicated one. I in no way want to downplay what you guys are doing because it is phenomenal and in many cases unprecedented. As I started the interview, I'm a lifelong college football fan, and I'm also a native Sacramentan. And I wonder, I've gone as far as to sit with people involved with both UC Davis and Sacramento State to ask, and I want to ask somebody who's on the field every day. We've seen Boise State, we've seen Cincinnati, we've seen Fresno State on the national level become, for times at least, national powerhouses. And I believe that if the equivalent happened here, that this town would flip on its ear and would go crazy. As somebody who's on the ground, is there a realistic road to get there for a Sacramento area school, or are there just too many hurdles to do what those other schools are doing?
Well, without question, it obviously takes leadership, and it takes people that are okay with it. And we're fortunate because, like I said, our Chancellor Gary May is all on board. He came from Georgia Tech. He knows what great athletics and a great school can do and how they can complement each other. And Kevin Blue comes from Stanford, a great academic institution that went out and raised $350 million.
Wow.
And the big thing is really, like for us, we're an internationally, nationally recognized university. We're not a small regional college. We're not. We're 40,000 people. We got a med school, a law school. We're number one in the world in several categories, and we're a major institution. We're like Cal and UCLA playing in the big sky. And ultimately, as you know this, you've got to have players.
Yep.
And there's a ton of players in California that have to leave because there's not enough places to play. So it takes leadership, and it takes work, and it takes vision and a coordination. But there's no doubt that the sky is the limit here at UC Davis. There's no doubt at all because there's resources, there's players, there's leadership. All those things are there. We just have to keep watering the garden and taking care of it and growing it properly, and I believe big things are going to happen.
Well, I lied, Coach. I'll make this my last question. For somebody like you who has helped put this foundation together, a foundation that's been there but is certainly riding high this year, does that make it significantly easier? And we just talked about not looking ahead, but significantly easier this spring and summer for you when you hit that recruiting trail, having either a national championship or a national championship contending team behind you. Does that make it a little bit more easier to go out and grab some of that talent from elsewhere that you've tried and succeeded at doing?
Hey, great players want to play on good football teams. And back in the dark days when I came here, where there were a lot of great students and a lot of great guys, but there were a lot of guys that were serious about football and wanted to play very good football. And Ken O'Brien and Bo Eason and Mike Wise. And I played with a ton of NFL guys, not me. I was kind of a drone on the team. But they came here because it was a good school and it played good football. And, good players want to be on good football teams. And so we got a great university. It's in a great spot. And you start percolating a little bit and you get a little blip on the radar, and good players want to be a part of that. And we're off to a really good start in recruiting, and we've got to finish it up. We've got a lot of really good players, and all of our guys are getting recruited by group of 5 teams, Power 5 teams, but it's that right combination. And so I believe strongly that we're going to do well and continue to do well. And as long as we've got leadership that supports us and people outside that supports us, we can make it happen.
Fantastic. Hey, Coach Dan Hawkins, head football coach at UC Davis. Listen, appreciate it. And again, native Sacramento and stuff like this is amazing for the community. This Saturday, 1 o'clock, Northern Arizona. out there in Davis. We'll have the coverage right here on KHTK. I know you're busy, Coach, and I appreciate you being up and spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, we appreciate you having us on. Drive over the causeway. Let's go. Saturday afternoon football in the fall. Let's go. Go Eggs.
All right, Coach. Thank you. That is Coach Dan Hawkins. It's a great story. I mean, it really is a great story. You see Davis contending for that national championship. That's no joke, man. That is absolutely no joke.
And we got a break. I don't want to get super far into this, but the FCS playoffs are super fun.
They are.
They do a very traditional like playoff style where they have 24 teams. I think it's 24, and it's just they play each other. It's like an NFL style format. It's really fun.
We will take a break. By the way, Dan Hawkins, no stranger to success in college. You might remember him at Boise State. We were just talking about Boise State earlier. How about a 53-11 record? At Boise State, 53-11, including 37-3 in conference. You know, one of his first hires, by the way, a guy by the name of the coach at Washington now,
Chris Peterson.
Chris Peterson, thank you very much. Yeah, there you go. Good job, Dave. A lot of information.
We've also got some Jimmy Buffett tickets to give away, so we're going to do that right now. Jimmy Buffett and the Coral Reef Band at the Golden One Center on March 16th. Get more info at KHTK.com. All KHTK giveaways are powered by RosevilleAutomall.com. Let's go with the second caller. I don't think we've ever done second caller.
Ever.
Second caller gets Jimmy Buffett tickets, so call now.
Somebody texted in, was that Dan Hawkins' Boise State team that had that Statue of Liberty play in the bowl game against Oklahoma? Was that Hawkins? I got to find that out.
I thought that was Peterson's first year. Maybe not.
You might be right. Hawkins got out of there. Yeah, it has to be because Hawkins was there 01 through 05. Yeah, that had to be Peterson. All right, we'll take a break. Who was hired by Hawkins? Let's be clear about that. So technically, it was Coach Hawkins that ran that Statue of Liberty play. We'll take a break. Kyle's getting mad. When we get back, we'll do some What's on Tap. He's gesticulating wildly in the other room. And there's a lot of What's on Tap tonight. Don't go away. Final segment right here on Sports 1140 KHTK. What's on Tap, brought to you by
non-prescription glasses.
What's on Tap brought to you by non-prescription glasses. If you want to look stupid, wear non-prescription glasses. I'm talking about the people that wear the fake eyeglasses as a fashion thing. That's dumb.
There's a very relevant, semi-famous on-air personality in the Bay Area.
Yes.
TV personality.
Let me, by the way, be very clear about something. I think that people that don't need glasses wearing glasses, that's lame. However, here's the counter argument. First off, people that wear glasses don't look dumb. They look smart. I think that's part of the point of people wearing the glasses.
More distinguished.
I want to be clear that when I say they look dumb, meaning, dude, you don't need glasses, not that glasses look dumb.
I have no issue with glasses.
But here's
I
the
have an issue with people wearing them that don't need them. Like, what are you doing?
Here's the counter argument. Here's the counter argument, though. And somebody, there's nothing I love more other than like cookies and milk than being knocked on my heels by a good point, especially when I'm planted in a thought process. Somebody said this to me maybe a week ago, and it really made me think. They said by the way, the tried and true millennial, they're not hurting anybody. They're living the best life. Yeah, okay, whatever. But here's what they said that got me. They said, you see all these entertainers and artists and athletes that are wearing eyeglasses. How great is that for the kids that are wearing eyeglasses?
Great
and there
point.
used to be a stigma, hey, nerd, hey, four eyes, hey, all that. You've got all these cool people wearing eyeglasses. How great would it be if more of them wore eyeglasses to change the stigma instead of it being eyeglasses are for nerds and four eyes and pocket protectors? Eyeglasses are a cool fashion accessory.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's trending in a big way.
Now, I don't think people are wearing those eyeglasses because they're like, I want to help out a 6-year-old little Johnny who's wearing glasses, but by proxy,
right?
And I thought about that. I went, you know what? Okay, I'm not. There's a lot of stuff to get angry about in this world. I'm okay with it. He's still kind of a goofball for doing it, but the side effect of your goofballiness, right, is if some 8-year-old kid who's getting glasses for the first time goes to school and somebody says, "Oh man, cool glasses. Those are like the ones Boogie Cousins wore, Russell Westbrook, whoever." Well, good for little kid.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of little kid. Little Kid headquarters right here for the awesomeness of, that sounds bad. You know what I mean. We're fans of all the kids that have to go through crap in school. And if that's one less thing they have to go through, then I say I say 2 thumbs up. Oakland and San Francisco. 2 thumbs down tonight on what's on tap.
Kings and Hawks.
Kings and Hawks.
2 thumbs up.
All the thumbs I got, man. I just got 2. I wish I had 10 thumbs. I'd put them all up. Kings and Hawks tonight, 4:30.
If you have 10 thumbs, get that checked out.
A little bit weird.
By the way.
4 o'clock pregame, 4:30.
Not weird. If you're a kid with 10 thumbs, we appreciate you.
Kings favored by 1.5 in this game. Let's go through real quick. This isn't an official Nostradamus. Kyle, give me your final score. Raiders, San Francisco.
I've got Raiders 27, San Francisco 23.
I'm going to go Raiders 24-10.
Okay.
All right. Kings, Hawks. What do you got?
I have Kings 127, Hawks 114.
127, 114. I'm going to go with the Hawks 155, Kings 101. They got 40 piece last year. I see no reason for 155, 101 Hawks. Hey, they got 40 piece last year by the Hawks.
Worst.
They lost by 40 last year. I see no reason for it. It's probably going to be worse this year because the Hawks have Trae Young.
Oh my God.
155, 101.
Seconds.
It's a 54-point loss for the Kings, but
oh my Lord.
They'll recover.
You're the
worst.
10.
Thanks to Eunice. She's a pro. Thanks to Kyle. He is not. I'm less of a pro than Kyle. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Jim Rum is next. Enjoy the rest of your broadcast day on Sports 1140 KHTK. Bye-bye now.